You know that feeling when you're leaning into a corner, heart racing just a bit, and halfway through, you realize something feels off? You're tense. The bike's twitchy. You're fighting the turn instead of flowing through it. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Even experienced riders mess this up all the time. Hey everyone, Matthew here from Autozium, and today we're talking about the 5 biggest cornering mistakes that make riders look sloppy, unsafe, and unconfident. But more importantly, we're going to fix them so you can finally ride those corners like they were made for you. All right, let's get into it. Mistake number 1, staring at the road right in front of your tire. Here's a hard truth. Your motorcycle doesn't go where your hands push it. It goes where your eyes tell it to. And yet, one of the most common cornering mistakes I see riders make, even experienced ones, is staring just a few feet ahead of their front tire. You've probably heard that classic phrase, look where you want to go. But most people interpret that way too literally. They think it means look generally ahead, when what it really means is lock your vision on your exit line. Your eyes are the GPS, your brain is the processor, and your body, that's just the delivery system. When you stare too close, you trap your awareness. Your brain starts obsessing over every little bump, patch, or leaf on the asphalt. You start reacting instead of riding. That creates tension, micro adjustments, overcorrections. And before you know it, your once smooth line turns into a jagged, nervous mess. Now, it's not that you shouldn't see what's near your tire. Of course, you need to scan for hazards. But there's a difference between seeing and fixating. Good riders scan near, mid, and far in constant rhythm, but they focus far. That's what allows your bike to flow naturally through a curve instead of twitching around every pebble. Next time you take a corner, try this. Before you enter the turn, consciously lift your vision. Find the exit point of the corner, that spot where you'll straighten up and roll on the throttle. Then, as you lean in, keep your head level and your eyes fixed through the curve. Your hands, your shoulders, even your hips will start to follow that line automatically. It's almost magical when it clicks. The bike starts gliding instead of fighting. The turn feels smoother, more controlled, because your brain is processing more time and space ahead. Here's another bonus. Looking further ahead actually slows things down mentally. You stop feeling like corners are coming at you too fast because you're always a few steps ahead. That calm, collected state, that's what top riders rely on. So remember, your front tire doesn't need your attention every second. The road in front of you is already behind you by the time you see it. Trust your eyes, lift your chin, and lead the bike with vision, not fear. Because cornering confidence doesn't come from how low you lean, it comes from how far you look. Mistake number 2, rushing into the corner too fast. There's something intoxicating about seeing a long, beautiful sweep of road ahead. You roll on the throttle, the bike feels alive, the sound echoes off the trees, and then, halfway through the turn, your stomach drops. You realize you came in too hot. Now you're wide, staring at the guardrail, rolling off the throttle in panic, and suddenly, everything feels unstable. We've all been there. This is where discipline meets instinct. The golden rule of cornering is simple but sacred. Slow before the corner, smooth through it. See, motorcycles behave best when the suspension is balanced, not pitching forward or squatting back. When you break deep into a lean or chop the throttle mid-corner, all that balance disappears. The weight transfers forward, the front end dives, and the bike starts to resist your lean. You end up fighting physics instead of using it. The fix starts with your approach. Before you tip in, brake in a straight line, firm but controlled, until you reach your target entry speed. Then, just before you lean, release the brake smoothly and transition into throttle. That gentle roll keeps the suspension steady, the tires loaded evenly, and your bike planted like it's on rails. You don't need to crawl through corners. You just need to enter at a speed that gives you options. A controlled rider can always choose to add throttle mid-turn. A panicked rider has no choices left. One trick I like to teach is to use vision pacing. Look through the corner early. If it's a tight bend and you can't see the exit yet, assume it's sharper than it looks. That mindset alone keeps you from overcommitting on entry speed. Once you spot your exit, that's your signal to roll on the throttle and let the bike carry you out. And remember, smoothness beats bravery. Fast riders aren't fast because they charge into corners. They're fast because they're predictable. Every motion they make is pre planned, every input measured. When you start treating corner entry as a setup, not a thrill, something shifts. The fear fades. You start realizing that speed is something you build out of corners, not into them. So the next time that perfect curve calls your name, take a breath. Set your speed early, trust your throttle, and glide through like it's second nature. Because anyone can go fast in a straight line, but corner control, that's where real riders are made. Mistake number 3, death gripping the handlebars. If you've ever finished a ride with sore shoulders or tight forearms, this one's for you. It's called the death grip, that instinct to hold the handlebars so tight you're practically trying to choke the life out of them. And it's one of the biggest killers of smooth riding. Here's the irony. The tighter you hold, the less control you actually have. Your bike wants to move beneath you. It's designed to self-stabilize. But when you lock your arms, you prevent it from doing what it's engineered to do. You're not helping it stay steady, you're trapping it in tension. Think about it like dancing. You can't lead a partner by stiffening up, you guide them with subtlety, with feel. Riding is exactly the same. Your bike responds to small, fluid inputs, not brute force. When you're death gripping, a few things happen instantly. Your elbows lock, your shoulders rise, and every little shake in the bars transmits straight into your body. You start reacting to every bump instead of letting the bike absorb it. That's when things feel twitchy and out of control. The fix is all about relaxation and support. Your arms should be light and flexible. Think of them as shock absorbers, not crowbars. Drop your elbows slightly below the bars, keep your wrists straight, and let your hands rest with just enough pressure to steer. Where should the real stability come from? Your core and legs. Grip the tank gently with your knees and engage your lower abs to stay balanced. That frees up your arms to steer naturally. Suddenly the bike feels alive again, responsive, not rigid. Here's a simple parking lot drill. Ride at walking speed and try taking your left hand off the bar. If you can do that without wobbling, you're using your body correctly. If you can't, it's a sign you're relying too much on your arms. Another quick check. If your knuckles are white or your shoulders are sore, you're trying too hard. Loosen up. Wiggle your fingers occasionally mid-ride to remind yourself to stay light. When you finally master that relaxed connection, that sense of moving with the bike, you'll notice a huge difference. The corners flow easier. The ride feels smoother. Your confidence climbs. Because the truth is, control isn't about force. It's about feel. And the best riders in the world? They're not hanging on for dear life. They're dancing with precision. So next time your grip starts tightening, take a breath, relax your shoulders, and let the bike do its job. You'll be amazed how much smoother and safer every ride becomes. Mistake number 4, forgetting about body position. Body position. It's one of those things most riders underestimate until they actually feel the difference. You don't have to be hanging off your bike like a MotoGP racer, knee down and elbow scraping the tarmac. But here's the truth. Even small changes in your posture can completely transform how your bike handles a corner. A motorcycle is a dance of balance. When it leans, every bit of your weight placement either helps or hurts that balance. If you're sitting stiff and upright while your bike's trying to lean, you're basically forcing it to do all the work alone. The center of gravity stays too high and central, so the bike feels heavy and unstable, like it's falling away from you instead of carrying you through the turn. What you want to do instead is work with it. The key phrase here is body inside, bike outside. That doesn't mean going full racer mode. It means gently shifting your upper body, your head, and maybe a bit of your hip toward the inside of the turn. Think about pointing your nose toward the mirror or turning your chest slightly toward the curve's exit. That subtle shift lowers the combined center of gravity and aligns your body with the bike's lean angle. You'll instantly feel it. The bike feels lighter, more planted, and suddenly those corners don't feel so sketchy. You're not fighting gravity anymore. You're cooperating with it. And here's another secret: your eyes and your head control your whole upper body. If you keep your head level with the horizon and your eyes locked through the corner, your shoulders and torso will naturally follow. That alignment makes your steering inputs smoother and gives you a sense of stability even when leaned over deep. One common mistake I see riders make is clamping down on the seat with both knees or leaning from the shoulders only. That's not real body positioning. That's tension. What you want instead is a connected looseness. One knee against the tank for stability, the other relaxed, your torso leaning slightly into the corner, your elbows bent and open, your weight distributed smoothly through the pegs. If you want to feel the difference, try this. Next time you're riding a gentle curve, shift just your upper body an inch to the inside and see how the bike reacts. It'll turn in more willingly, stay more composed mid corner, and feel like it's gliding through instead of stumbling across. Good body position isn't about looking cool, it's about physics. You're lowering your mass, aligning your momentum, and helping the tires grip where they need to. And once you feel that connection, that perfect synergy between your body and your machine, it's hard to go back. Because great cornering doesn't come from bravado, it comes from balance. And balance starts with how you move, breathe, and trust your bike to lean with you. Mistake number 5: rolling off the throttle mid corner. This one right here, it's the silent killer of smooth cornering. It's that instinctive reaction every rider has the first time a turn feels tighter than expected. You roll off the throttle. You think you're being cautious. But in reality, you just told your motorcycle to do the one thing it hates most in a lean: unbalance itself. Let's unpack that. When you're in a corner, your tires are sharing grip between cornering and acceleration forces. The throttle, even just a little, helps keep weight evenly distributed between both tires. That's what keeps your suspension stable and your bike settled into a predictable arc. Now, the moment you roll off mid corner, all that balance shifts forward. The front suspension dives, the rear unloads, and the geometry of the bike changes. Suddenly, your front tire is carrying more load than it should, your steering feels twitchy, and the rear starts to drift or feel light. That's how low sides happen, not from aggression, but from hesitation. The cure? Something called maintenance throttle. That means once you lean into a turn, you apply a very gentle, steady roll of throttle, just enough to keep the weight neutral. You're not accelerating hard, you're simply maintaining momentum and balance. It's like keeping tension in a dance move. Not too much, not too little, just enough to stay graceful. To practice this, find a wide, safe corner or an empty lot and ride in a smooth, controlled circle. Focus on keeping the throttle constant while leaning. Feel how the bike settles into itself when you stop playing tug of war with the gas. You'll feel that stability, that perfect harmony where the bike just flows. Now let's talk about the fear side of it. Most riders roll off mid-corner not because they're clumsy, but because they're scared. They enter a corner too fast, and the survival instinct kicks in. The brain says, slow down, even when physics is begging you not to. That's why cornering confidence starts before you even lean, with proper entry speed and line vision. When you know you're entering a turn within your comfort zone, maintaining throttle feels natural, not forced. You stop second guessing yourself, and the bike rewards that trust with smooth, predictable traction. So remember, steady throttle equals stable bike. Chopping throttle equals chaos. The difference between oh no and nailed it is often a quarter turn of the wrist. The next time your gut tells you to roll off mid-corner, take a breath and trust the process. Keep that light, steady pressure. Let the bike work. It's designed to stay upright as long as you let it. Because in motorcycling, confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of balance. And balance starts with that tiny, deliberate twist of the wrist. You see, the truth is, cornering isn't about bravery, it's about trust. Trusting your bike, your balance, and your line. Most sloppy riding comes from fear: fear of leaning too much, fear of losing control, fear of getting it wrong. But the more you practice these fundamentals, vision, entry speed, body position, and smooth throttle, the more that fear fades. Start small, empty parking lot. Practice figure eights, low speed leans, and steady throttle. Then take it to the road, and suddenly every corner starts to feel like art instead of chaos. And remember, smooth always beats fast, every time. If this helped you feel a little more confident about your cornering, hit that like button and subscribe for more riding tips every week. I'm Matthew. This is Autozium. Ride smart, stay smooth, and I'll see you in the next one.